Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fatherless Sons. I am your host, LaShawn Wiley, and this is episode 103. In today's episode, we'll be covering our normal three segments, which is Building Your Empire, Couch Time, and Fatherless and Famous. And in the segment of Building Your Empire, we're going to discuss a little bit about how to have those tough conversations with your family members about money. Couch Time will be covering a conversation that I had with one of my mentees. And stick around to the end of this episode so that you can find out who today's Fatherless and Famous is for this episode. So jumping right into Building Your Empire, let's talk a little bit about a tough topic that a lot of people struggle with and avoid like it's the plague when it comes to speaking with family members, especially your kids, about money. It's this weird thing that we assume that our kids are going to find out everything they need to know about life by the time they turn 18, or maybe even by the time they graduate from college, that they should have it all figured out. They should know how to use money, how to plan and budget their finances, even though no one really taught us. We somehow expect our kids to already have the answers to these questions about finance, which is, like I say, is odd because if you didn't teach them, then who taught them about money? Now, a lot of adults and parents out there struggle on this topic themselves because they are not really savvy when it comes to managing and budgeting their own finances. And I guess they just assume that, okay, the kid understands what money is and my child understands how to buy things with money. They already worked their first job. They received their first paycheck and I already told them to save. So does that conclude your responsibilities when it comes to teaching your kids about finance? So I implore everyone out there to take a different approach here. Okay. And my approach is probably seen as a bit radical, but this is a practice that I actually put in place myself. I practice this myself, and I would advise everyone out there with kids, especially in the minority communities, to follow what I practice here. And what it is I make my finances an open book for my kids. I have two kids and my kids are adults, but I would say even when your kids are 5 years old, you should already be teaching them a little bit about money and how to buy things and that things have a value and a cost to obtain them. Teach them in an age appropriate way. But as they get older and older, start teaching them a little bit more and more. You open your finances to your child so that you can give them real life, tangible examples. And as they, become in their early and mid teens, start giving them even more age appropriate information about finances and your own finances. And as they become young adults, give them even more. So I would say before they graduate from high school, you should be talking about salaries with them. You should tell them how much you make in your salary. Now, I can already hear it in the comments where people are just like, wait. Why would I be telling my child how much money I make a year? It's not their business. And this is where I say it might be seen as a little bit radical, but it is their business. I want you to make it their business. Talk about the last raise that you got. What was the percentage? What was your evaluation on your performance review? Tell your child how it showed up in your pay, what it translated into pay after taxes were taken out of your paycheck. Talk about your wins. Talk about your losses. As they become mature adults, maybe they're in college, tell them about your blunder when it came to stocks, that maybe you made a purchase on a hot tip on a stock and you put a lot of money into it and lost all of your money because the stock didn't pan out. Share that pain with them. You may be a little embarrassed about it, but you need to share and be an open book and let them know exactly what went wrong, the lessons that you learned, so that they can learn those lessons too. Don't let them go through those lessons themselves. Just be an open book. If you get fired from a job, tell them about it. Tell them how it affects your finances. Tell them how tough things are to budget in a household after you lost your job. Tell them if you had any emergency funds set up that can hold and sustain your family for 3, 4, 5 months until you found another job. Let them know everything. If you have money saved up in a savings account, let them know if you're getting paid any interest on those savings. So Tell them your wins, tell them your losses, tell them your mortgage amount, how much you pay on your mortgage, what your interest rate is. Have those kind of discussions with them. Because if you don't have those discussions with them, then who will? If you don't teach them about finances, then who will? I recently, had a transaction with some real estate that I went through. I sold a duplex and my son is 27 years old. And I told my son, I want you to be side by side with me when I sign the papers, when I get my real estate agent, when we list the property, when I go into negotiations, when it comes to selling the property, how I negotiated, how we bargained and went back and forth. What was the final sell price that we agreed upon? And what type of offer did I make to make the strongest offer and be in a position of strength when it came to negotiating? What did I use as leverage? Okay. How much did I pay my real estate agent for listing and selling the property and helping me with the paperwork? How much did I pay my attorney? All of those details. What was the final paid? What was the check that was cut when I went to go pick up the check? What did that look like? And when I went to the lawyer's office, I took my son with me so he can see the paperwork that I signed and he can see what it looked like because he needed to experience it. He needed to be exposed to it. So when he buys his first piece of property, he'll know exactly what it looks like, what to expect. And at the same time, it tells him that he can ask me any questions about the process so that I can teach him and let him know what to expect. So tell, your family about your successes, your losses, your budgeting, how you organize your finances, how you manage them with your spouse. Tell them everything. Okay. Now, this obviously becomes a little tricky if you have a split household. So if you're sharing custody of your kids and they can be young or teens or young adults, and you are concerned about your personal and private finances going from their mouths to people outside of the household, that you're not looking to share this type of information. That is a real concern, and I'll acknowledge that as a real concern. I won't shy away from that. So in that situation, I would advise people to be careful, obviously, with how much you share. Make sure your child that you're sharing this information with is at a maturity level, not based on age, but based on their maturity level when it comes to how much you share and what you share. But even if you have a split household, that does not remove the responsibility you have to teach them, hold their hands, give them some examples of what to do and what not to do when it comes to finances. You are their first teacher when it comes to financial literacy. And if you don't know enough about financial literacy, stay tuned into this channel, do some research, learn what you need to learn so that you can teach. You will have the knowledge to teach your child about finances. Okay. So I'll get off my soapbox when it comes to that topic. I'm very passionate about it. I wish more people, especially people that are in marginalized communities, will teach their kids and be an open book when it comes to finances. Okay. So couch time, I want to share a conversation that I had with one of my mentees. And those who have viewed any of my previous videos will know that I have mentees that I mentor. Currently, I have 3 mentees that I mentor. And these mentees are of vast different ages and different levels of professions that they're in. This particular mentee that I want to share this story is very educated, very smart, very successful person, and they're very analytical. So the thing that I coached this person through that they were struggling with was they wanted to invest in the stock market, but they wanted more information. They wanted actually more than more information. They wanted all of the information. They wanted to know all of the details that were involved in trading stocks, and not just a brief understanding, but a detailed understanding, how to trade options, how to evaluate a stock, how to tear down a company, how to evaluate the leadership of a company, looking at their price earning ratios. They wanted to know every in and out when it came to stock picking. They wanted to be able to pick a stock as well as any financial person in the financial industry, any investment or portfolio manager. They wanted to know how to do it the right way. Now, here's the problem that this mentee was facing with. This gave them analysis paralysis, where they were analyzing everything down to its minute detail to the point where they didn't take action. And they wouldn't take action until they understood every detail. Now, keep in mind, this is a professional who has a 40 to 45 hour a week job. Where do you have time to do that? This is what I would say to everyone and all of my viewers out there. You don't need to know every single detail about something to move forward with an action. And if you allow yourself to be paralyzed with the details, you'll find yourself wasting time. My close friend, I'll tell you his name because I'm sure I'm going to be mentioning him plenty of times. My best friend his name is Patrick Moss. And Patrick and I, we talk about how I am quick to act. He always calls me a rabbit because I am very quick to act on something. I'll do my research, I'll do my due diligence, but at the same time, I won't pause long enough to scare myself out of taking action. And I won't procrastinate and allow the great, ripe deal to pass me by. I won't do that. Instead, I'll jump on it. And once I make my mind up, I'll jump on it, I'll take actions, and I move forward, and I move aggressively forward. Okay. This has enabled me to capitalize on a lot of deals and do very well financially when it came to making deals and negotiating deals. It's because I act. I don't wait. I don't think about it too long. I don't procrastinate. I act. I take actions. Okay. So don't let analysis paralysis stop you from moving forward on the deal. Please don't do that. Do your homework. I'm not telling you not to do your homework and do your research and due diligence. I'm saying you don't need to know every single minute detail. Here's an example. Let's say you want to buy a used car. Now, you should know the basics of checking out that car to make sure you're not getting a lemon. But if you want to, pull spreadsheets and take it to your mechanic and wait and schedule time for your mechanic to look at the car and you want to do some more research on the internet to see the reliability of this particular brand, etc. By the time you do all that, somebody else is going to come and buy the car. Come on. Don't do that. Don't waste time and let a great deal pass you by because you don't have enough details and you get paralyzed with trying to research and grab more information. Sometimes we're not going to feel comfortable not having all the details, and that's okay. But don't let fear disguise itself as you needing more details. Fear is a powerful emotion, and it will disguise itself very well. It would say to you, you need more information before you pull the trigger on this. It will convince you. That's just fear. Don't let fear stop you, okay? So let's jump to one of my favorite segments of the day, which is Fatherless and Famous. All right, so today's Fatherless and Famous has a little twist to it. As you know, the name of this program is Fatherless Sons. And the person that I want to acknowledge as Fatherless and Famous today is not a son. It's actually a daughter. Okay. So this woman, this very successful woman, did not have a father figure or a stable father figure in a household. So I'll give you the name and then we'll go over a little more details about how she grew up without a father figure in the household. This person name is, drum roll please, Oprah Winfrey. Was raised in a fatherless household. And as you all know, she is very, very, very successful. She has her own production company called Harpo, Harpo, which is Oprah spelled backwards. Very creative. And her father was in the army when she was born. And her mother, at the age of 19, was unstable and unable to really raise her. So her mother handed Oprah off to her grandmother. And her grandmother basically was the rock who raised Oprah from a youngster all the way up. Now, things did take an interesting turn as I was doing research on this. Oprah did end up staying with her dad briefly when she was at the age of 6. She lived with her dad for a few years, and then her dad, around the age of 14, ended up trying to put Oprah in a boarding school because Oprah was seen as a troubled child that kept kind of getting in trouble, and her dad just couldn't handle her, basically. So Oprah ended up getting pregnant at the age of 14, and this was by a 19-year-old schoolmate of hers. And unfortunately, her child was passed away at birth. So hats off to you, Oprah, for overcoming adversity, for finding success when all of the challenges that was in front of you tried to stop you from finding success. You found it anyway. Congratulations to you. And Oprah in 10 days will be having a birthday. Her birthday is January the 29th. So happy birthday, Oprah. You'll be turning 72 years old, as you know. So congratulations. Continue to have a prosperous life and doing some great things with your production company. Now, I always like to include the net worth of these individuals that I share with as far as Fatherless and Famous, and I won't make any exception here. Oprah has a net worth currently of 3.2 billion with a B, billion dollars. And some people even say it might be even higher, closer to 4 or possibly $5 billion. I know at one point, if this is not still true, she was the richest woman in the United States. So way to go, Oprah, on being so successful. I know you inspire a lot of people out there. And hopefully now that, those who didn't know that you came up in a fatherless household, maybe this will help inspire them to push through the adversities that they're going through and find the kind of success that you found. So that'll conclude our episode today. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up and like this video so that more people can find this content who's looking for it. Go ahead and subscribe if you have not already, and leave comments about your stories. If you have stories or people that you know that grew up in a fatherless household, I really want to hear them all. I'll read every single comment and possibly share some of those stories on this channel. Have a great day. And until next time, be safe, keep moving forward, and don't let anything hold you back. Thank you.